I really thought that we are going to win once again and continue the momentum that we have built up since Michael Carrick has taken over as interim manager. But he suffers his first loss in 14 games, and yes, we include the games of his first time being interim, and that is testament to what he has done so far. The second time around, this is of course his first loss, his first loss in 8 games, and he only has a draw against West Ham, which is a further blemish on his record. Other than that, it's been wins, and we could see this result coming. The way we played against Everton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, you could see that there was issues starting to arise in terms of how we set up against teams that sit back and defend, that show a bit more aggression, that show a bit more energy, that show that they wanted more. And against West Ham, we were lucky to get an equalizer through Benjamin Sesko. And against Crystal Palace, we didn't have that much of the ball. We weren't that good as well in the game itself, but we still managed to get 3 points. Likewise, against Everton, we could have also lost that game if it wasn't for Senny Lommans and all of his wonderful saves that he made to keep us in the game and, of course, keep us in the lead after Sesko scored. So you could see that there were cracks starting to show in Michael Carrick in terms of how he sets up against these teams. But he himself was not the only issue against Newcastle. You could look at the bench, you could look at the squad in its entirety. There are issues for Michael Carrick and United to still sort out, especially since the system has changed. So there is a gaping hole on the left hand side. And yes, Cunha can play there. He does show his quality there, but he's not an out and out left winger. You have Luke Shaw as well, who's played every single game since the beginning of the season, but it seems like it's starting to catch up with him now because he hasn't played this much football, for the past few years because of his injury record. So it was bound to catch up to him sooner or later, and unfortunately, it did happen last night. You could see just how slow he was, lethargic, and he got caught out quite a few times. Now, the game itself, it wasn't a good game. It wasn't a great game to watch because there was barely any football played. Newcastle bossed us in midfield. They certainly were more aggressive, and we knew they were going to be up for it. I called this in the preview. I said that Newcastle, whenever Man United comes to town, the fans are going to be up for it, the players are going to be up for it. Even though they had bad results before us, I knew, and I'm sure that you did as well, that Newcastle were going to be that aggressive. And all we needed to do was match them. And we didn't. It didn't seem like we wanted to. The amount of misplaced passes, the amount of miscommunication in terms of trying to link up, these things happen because there is a lack of intensity, because there is a lack of urgency by the players. When we did go 1-0 behind, it was kind of a crazy end to the first half. The second yellow for Jacob Ramsey, I do think that he did dive, so it is right by law to have given him the second yellow and to have sent him off. But in the grand scheme of things, Newcastle United, all their players were diving every single chance they could. A small touch in the back and they would go down and the ref would give them the foul. Those things as well disrupted our rhythm, disrupted the game state and its flow. And that is what Newcastle are good at. Being disruptive, being destructive in terms of breaking any momentum that the team that is playing against them does want to build up on. And Newcastle always play like this. They've done it to Liverpool, they've done it to City, they have done it to the big teams. So us coming to Newcastle and not getting a result does not mean that we were completely bad. Yes, we deserve to lose. I can say that with confidence because we weren't at our best. We were not good enough last night. We struggled to find answers. We barely crossed the ball into the box and we didn't find a way through. And Newcastle fed off that. They saw that we were struggling, not just with the ball, but also on a mental level. Physically, we also were found wanting. And the changes that Michael Carrick made in the second half with the likes of Ugarte coming on, who had an okay cameo, but I don't think Casemiro needed to come off. He was still able to be that threat for us from set pieces, and of course being that defensive anchor. Bringing on Malasia didn't make sense at all when you had Aiden Heaven available and Godwill Kukonki, who are both left-footed, can play left back and have played more football than Malasia for the past year or so. So there in itself, Michael Carrick made a mistake. He should have brought Ahmad on earlier, but again, Ahmad didn't do anything to justify that he should have been on the pitch earlier. It was simply such a bad game. And as I said just a few moments ago, we deserve to lose that game. But it does leave us with questions now. Again, can Michael Carrick turn this around? Can we react in the best way possible and win our next game against Aston Villa? It's quite a far away from last night's game, but that does give us enough time to focus on what went wrong, where we can improve, how we can limit those type of scenarios as far as possible and keep the game in our control, because there was no control from us against Newcastle, none whatsoever. I think that was Kobe Mainoo's worst performance under Michael Carrick. Yes, Bruno Fernandes pops up with an assist, but should have gotten more. Euro missed an opportunity at point blank range. The shot from Mainoo was saved by Ramsdale excellently. Why is it always that goalkeepers who play against United tend to have the best game of their lives? It always seems to happen. And with someone like Ramsdale, it's very, very strange that last night he pulled out the saves that he did, because he's not that good. He basically just had a very good night. But we take it on the chin. We move forward, we have to. It does hurt, it does sting, but that is football. You have to learn. You can't win every single game. And if that does happen, then it will probably be the first time a team has ever won every single game in an entire season. And even the best teams in the world, even under Sir Alex Ferguson, when we were up there challenging for the top trophies, winning season after season, we still found ourselves losing games under him. So losing a game in the manner that we did was bad. We should have given a bit more. We should have done more. We should have finished the chances that came our way, but we didn't. They were 10 men, and similar to Everton earlier on in the season, we struggled to break them down and we lost the game. But Michael Carrick will have to figure this out. He will need to find a way to get a reaction out of these players, because we can't turn up at Old Trafford against Aston Villa and not put in a good performance. We need to win, and we'll talk about that when the time definitely does come. But do let me know in the comment section what you think about Michael Carrick and his decisions, and what you thought about the bad performance against Newcastle United. Have a wonderful day further till we see each other again the next one. Bye-bye, Red Devils. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.